Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Chad here, and I wanted to bring to you a resource today, which is something that I use every week. I have been using this resource for the past few years. This is called the Culture Translator Premium. It is sort of like a newsletter that gets sent to your email. You can sign up for this. It's with a group called Axis.org. That's AXIS.org. And what they do is they go through culture. They sort of sift through it, see what's trending, what's happening in different sectors and areas, and they put together this newsletter. And it's sort of informational, but they also give some conversational questions at the end. And it's really a great resource if you're an educator, if you're someone working with youth, if you are a parent or a grandparent, a guardian, whatever you might be, if you've got a student or you have a young person in your life that you're mentoring and trying to connect with them and have conversations, the Culture Translator Premium is an excellent resource to do this. And so, what I want to do today is just take you through the newsletter, really, that came out. This is dated, you can see at the top, August 18th, so this is last week. And I just want to walk through the setup and then kind of give you an example of what one of these looks like. So, typically, when you get this, you can open up the email and it'll have the title. And they always usually do a three things this week. So, number one, Chef's Kiss. If you go down a little bit, number two, decking out the dorms. Number three, a short story, and they'll go through and tell you what it is, why is it important. There's always what I really like a start the conversation piece to each one of these to help you get into asking some questions and having some good conversations. This one you can see they have a song of the week. That's something they've been doing for a while now. This one's The Rich Men North of Richmond, which is by Oliver Anthony Music. That has, if you haven't seen the video or heard about this, that's been trending the past couple weeks that I know of. I watched the video last week to see what was happening with that. Then one thing I like is they get down to the bottom. They do something called Culture Translated. So they'll take one of those top three. So one of these top three things this week, and they'll do a little expose, if you will. They'll do some extension on that and do Culture Translated, and they'll walk through and give a little bit more of a synopsis. Try and investigate a little bit more. Why is it important? How is it sort of pushing the boundaries in some certain ways? Why should we care about it, and what should be interesting about it? Um, I should say that this resource is coming from a Christian worldview and a Christian perspective, and so they will tie in portions of Scripture into the conversations that they're having. Um, but they do a really good job of making this available to anyone, religious or non religious, in a holistic sense of caring about the young people, trying to understand what they're into, how we can connect with them and have conversations that would be meaningful to their life. Usually at the end, then, of the newsletter, if you will, they have premium insights. Here they have 6 premium insights. And I like this because they go across different areas of culture to help you be engaged with what's going on. So this week is movies and TV. They talk about Suits on Netflix. Why is it popular? Um, they will send you to some other links that you can read across different news sites or different magazines or things that are talking about why is it important. Give you a little bit more ability to have the conversation with people and give you some things that you could research if you would like to do that. This week in music, Olivia Rodrigo, they're going to talk about her new song Bad Idea Right. I'll give you some information about that this week in gaming. So I'm a gamer. I'm a big gamer. They're talking about Netflix and the new gaming that you can do in Netflix. You know, asking the question, how well is that going to take off? This week in technology, they're talking about a media company. Sometimes they'll highlight one. In this case, it looks like they're asking about some issues related to the controversy from this company. And then what does product reviews look like? What's been trending this week is number five, a movie, I think it's called Zepatha or Zapotha, and they'll talk about that. And then this one they have This Week in Faith. And so this is actually about apologies and apologizing. What does it look like to do that? And there's some other things at the bottom they kind of list. Podcasts you can look at, podcast reviews. Axis.org has some great content for um, going and getting a course, and sometimes you can pay for it, $2, $3, $5. Sometimes it's free, and that's sort of a parent's guide to different things. And they just give you a lot of research and things they can pull in just for you to have some tools in the toolbox just to get started. And so it's an incredible resource. Wanted to share it with you. I do want to go back up to the top and just break down number one for you. And I'd like to do this on a weekly basis, going through this newsletter as it comes out. But here's number one, three things this week. I've got it color coded a little bit, trying to explain it a little bit more, walk you through reading it, what you could do. So here's one. It's called Chef's Kiss. And they tell you what it is. So, physical gestures that originated on TikTok have become an integral part of how Gen Z communicates in real life. They say, well, why are people noticing it? And so in the blue, I've just color coded that to sort of connect with what it is, with red being kind of the payoff at the end. So in the blue, touching the two tips of your index fingers together to shyly ask a question, darting your tongue out of one side of your mouth to indicate silliness, miming a chef's kiss. Um, what they're saying is basically a large majority of students and young people are choosing to communicate these ways using these gestures. Um, the interesting thing about it is we're seeing what you might say the embodiment of technological communication. So they're on their phone, they're hitting up Snapchat, they're watching TikTok, they're on Instagram. Um, and as they continue to be on these mediums and in these platforms, they almost begin to, I'll use the word mimic, but it's like bodily mimic or use their body in their communication almost to the point where they're doing it by necessity. It's like they need to do it in order to have a conversation. So in the red, a little bit of the follow through says, the shorthand makes up a shared language for a generation for whom digital existence superseded the physical realm, at least during the formative years they spent restricted by the pandemic. Teens may even appear to be performing quote unquote communication, acting out their words with coded signals to punctuate or elaborate on their words. So, what they're saying then, a chef's kiss, is here's what's happening in the culture. Here's something maybe you've noticed. Here's now a little detail, some explanation of what's going on. And it's just a really fascinating thing to see how is our digital experience now shaping, forming, having some type of influence on how we speak and even how we're beginning to embody this. So why would this matter? Well, if you're an employer, you're going to be seeking to employ these folks in the next few years. Some of them might have even come to your business recently. If they're starting to imbibe a habit like this, it could be really good for your company, or maybe that's a habit that you feel like you've got to do some training so that it's not as noticeable. Um, or in an influencer entertainment driven culture, this might be exactly what everyone's looking for, the inability to seem like you can communicate without some type of coded body language is just someone that you could kind of ignore. They're not up with the times. They don't know what's going on. So it could be some insights like that. And so to have the conversation, to think about those, to me is it's fun. It's exciting to think about it. So they give you then to start the conversation. How often do you notice people copying online gestures in real life? And you could ask your family and friends this question. You could sit down with your child and you could ask them the question. And my oldest daughter's in middle school. I might ask the question, hey, so have you noticed people doing these types of things? What do you think about it? Have you tried to do it? Was it something to be interested in? Um, just a conversation starter. So wanted to introduce this to you guys today. Again, this is called the Culture Translator Premium. It's a resource. You can go to axis.org. I'll put a link in the description that could take you to the website. Something you can sign up for. It's a quick, easy wonderful resource. It gets delivered to your email every Friday. I actually look forward to it because I love to get into it and see what's happening, what things have I missed, what is happening in the cultural beat that I'm not aware of. And then it gives me some really good fodder, if you will, for conversation. How can I engage my students? How can I think about parenting my kids better? What does it look like to be an educator of this new upcoming generation? So I want to present that to you guys. If you have any comments, questions, please put those down there as well. And like, subscribe, hang here with us as we continue to do a lot more content in a lot of different mediums. And thankful for you guys to be here. As always, think well and be well. This is Chad signing off.